Welcome to Second Look History. Today, we look straight at the Banqiao Dam failure, a technological disaster rare in scale and destructive power. Let us begin. Water has sustained civilizations. From ancient canals to modern seaports. It has also pushed people to build bold structures. Dams? A dam sounds simple, a wall that holds back a river. But it is really a long contest with nature. Rivers do not want to stop. Water pressure always searches for the weakest path. Most dams do their job, but when design is flawed, when operations slip, or when nature exceeds the limit, everything can fail very fast. China is a land of great rivers. The Yellow River and the Yangtze built prosperity and left deep memories of floods. In history, floods were not only natural disasters. They were sometimes used as weapons. Dikes were broken to stop invading armies. By the 20th century, the tragedy still repeated after the Civil War. The People's Republic of China emerged with an ambitious vision of industrialization between political goals and engineering principles. Some decisions leaned too heavily on willpower. In the early 1950s in Henan province, the Banqiao Dam was built on the Ru River with help from Soviet specialists. The goals were flood control, water storage for irrigation, and power generation. After upgrades, the dam stood at more than 80 feet, which is a little over 24 meters. There was a plan to hold a very large volume of water upstream. From the first years, the structure showed cracks and slides, but deeper issues remained. The local terrain and geology were not well suited to long-term water storage. Chief Engineer Chen Exing urged installing 12 outlets to reduce risk. The recommendation was not fully implemented. In practice, the number of outlets was reduced to 5. At the same time, deforestation and land degradation turned the reservoir turbid with silt. The flood discharge paths slowly clogged. Chain of hidden weaknesses kept building up. Then Typhoon Nina appeared. It intensified rapidly from a tropical disturbance in the western Pacific. It swept across Taiwan. It moved inland, then slowed when it met a cold trough over Henan. It nearly stopped for 3 straight days. Rain fell like a hanging curtain, about 64 inches in 3 days, which is about 1,631 millimeters. In only 6 hours, about 33 inches fell, which is about 830 millimeters. These numbers pushed every calculation beyond a safe range. At Banqiao, orders to open the gates were proposed on August 6th, but they lagged behind the pace of the storm. Years of silt made the spillway and the outlets perform poorly. Roads were cut, downstream communications were unstable. Warnings did not reach everyone before dawn on August 8, 1975. The reservoir climbed over the crest. Only about 12 inches of overtopping, which is about 30 centimeters, was enough. The falling sheet of water scoured the downstream face. A section of the dam slumped. A massive body of water tore free from the basin. It rolled with mud and rock and rushed toward Shimantan, Shimantan, and many smaller dams failed in succession. The domino effect was set in motion. In the valley, a wall of water spread to about 6 miles wide, which is about 10 kilometers. It rose to 10 to 23 feet, which is about 3 to 7 meters. It moved at about 31 miles per hour, which is about 50 kilometers per hour. It swept through homes, rail lines, and fields. In the first few hours, roughly 570,000 acre-feet of water escaped, which is about 700 million cubic meters. The damage stacked up. More than 10 million people were affected. 62 dams were damaged or failed. Vast temporary lakes formed across the plain. Fatality estimates diverge widely, from about 26,000 in official figures to more than 200,000 when hunger and disease after the flood are included. Some studies separate about 85,000 to 100,000 as people who died directly in the flood. Wave information at the time was restricted. Reporters had limited access to the scene. Later, investigations pointed to an overlapping chain of causes. Extreme rainfall lasted because the storm moved slowly. The practical flood storage buffer was gone. Discharge routes were choked by silt. Decisions to release water was sometimes delayed. Warning and communications broke down. Interdependent infrastructure meant a single break could pull the whole system down. After Banqiao, China reviewed and reinforced large numbers of reservoirs and dams. It adopted the concept of the probable maximum flood for design reference. It added emergency spillways and bypass channels. It built multi-channel warning systems and held regular community drills. Even so, debate continues as mega-projects like Three Gorges operate in a world of increasingly volatile weather. The Banqiao story reminds us that a natural disaster can begin with human error. A strong dam is not enough. Clear release thresholds are necessary. Maintenance and dredging must be continuous. Flood maps and evacuation plans must reach every village when the threshold is reached. Sometimes only a few dozen centimeters. The right decision at the right moment can save an entire valley. Thank you for watching. If you found this useful, please leave a comment and subscribe. Each week, we will dissect more hidden histories behind major structures and disasters.